Being consistent is hard. And yeah, I know this probably isn't the first video you've seen about being consistent. Everybody talks about it, but nobody really teaches you how to become consistent without being disciplined or pure willpower. Maybe you've tried going to the gym, building a business, or even developing a daily habit. And at first it feels great, you're motivated and you're excited, but then life happens. You miss a day and then another day, and suddenly you're back to square one. So why does this happen? It's because most people rely on motivation and willpower to stay consistent. But here's the truth. Motivation is unreliable and willpower is a limited resource. And if you keep depending on them to stay consistent and meet your goals, you're gonna fail eventually. Now, the people that you see on the internet that are super consistent don't rely on motivation at all. They've built their habits so that the consistency is the path of least resistance. And today I'm gonna show you exactly how to do that using science, psychology, and real world strategies. Now, did you know that your brain was actually wired to sabotage your consistency? There are a few key cognitive biases that explain exactly why it's so hard sticking with something. The first one is that your brain wants your actions to align with your self-image. If you don't see yourself as a fit person or a disciplined person, you'll subconsciously sabotage yourself to align with your self-image. Another way to think about it is you tell people that you're not a morning person and you don't like to wake up early. And from that, your body's gonna self-sabotage you and try to justify ways to keep sleeping in. One way to fix this is the commitment and consistency principle. When you commit to something publicly, you're more likely to follow through because you have the pressure of everybody else asking you about it because you've already explained that's what you are and what you do. If used correctly, this could actually benefit you, but it also can hurt you if you commit to the wrong things and tell people something you're really not. And then there's the present bias and the instant gratification trap. See, your brain is naturally wired to endure the short-term pleasure rather than the long-term benefits. This is why scrolling on social media feels so easy, but then the second you sit down to read a book, hold the book in your hands and move your eyes to the words, it's so exhausting. So how do we hack our psychology to make consistency so much easier? Let's get into the actual strategies. First one is the 1% rule, and I know you've heard this thousands of times, but just stick with me. Most people think consistency is making huge gains every single day to get you closer to your goal, but that's not true at all. The real secret is to aim for that tiny and manageable progress. For example, instead of saying, I'm gonna write 1,000 words per day, say you're gonna write 1 sentence per day. And the reason why it works is the hardest part is starting. Once you start, the momentum will build itself. And once you get those small tasks going, they're gonna build like a snowball. Obviously, you know the snowball effect. By keeping this goal tiny, you're subconsciously telling yourself that the tasks are easy, so you can keep getting them done day after day after day. That's consistency. One of the most famous studies on habit formation actually said that it takes on average 66 days for a habit to become automatic. But the key was consistency, not intensity. So if you just focus on showing up every day, doing the smallest little task, you're already winning. Now I want you to think about this. Think about the last time that you picked up your phone just to check the notifications. Like everybody does. You didn't decide to do it. It was automatic. That's because habits are driven by small psychological patterns known as the habit loop. The habit loop consists of a cue, which is a trigger that reminds you to take action, a routine, which is the behavior itself, and then the reward, a dopamine hit that reinforces the habit and makes you feel good after doing it. Now here's how to apply it. First, attach your new healthy habits with an existing routine. For example, every day when you brush your teeth, remind yourself that you're going to do 10 push-ups every time that you brush your teeth. You can also use environmental cues. For example, if you want to read more, set a book on your pillow. And lastly, make the reward immediate. An example of this would be like when you're done with your work session, or you just filmed a video, or you just read, treat yourself to something instantly. Kind of like when you're training your dog to shake your hand. You give them a treat right after so they know that's what they have to do to get the reward. It works the same way with humans. The goal is to design habits that require zero willpower, so they happen on autopilot. Now, everybody breaks consistency at some point, even the best people in the world. But the key is what happens after that break point. One of the biggest psychological traps is the all or nothing thinking. The idea of that if you mess up once, you failed. And that's just not true. Studies show that missing just one day has zero impact on your habit formation. But missing 2 days in a row significantly increases the chances of quitting altogether. The fix to this is adopting the never skip twice rule. If you miss a day, you have to show up the next day, even just the smallest little bit. Consistency is not about perfection. It's about always coming back. Back to what I was saying at the beginning, most people think willpower is how you be consistent, but science tells us something totally different. Willpower is a depleting resource. Studies on ego depletion actually show that resisting a temptation actually drains your mind of energy. So people with strong willpower aren't actually stronger than you. They just structure their habits in a way that feels like less effort. So here's Here's how to reduce that need for willpower. Remove friction. You gotta make the habit easier. For example, if you wanna work out more, sleep in your gym clothes. The second way to do this is increasing the friction for distractions. Make the bad habits harder to come by. For example, instead of deleting all social media apps, remove them from your home screen so it's not the first thing you see when you swipe up on your phone. And the third way is using accountability. This means publicly committing to a goal or find a habit partner. And the key to all this is you do not need willpower to stay consistent and reach your goals. You just need better systems and reframing of the mind. You got this. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.